You are in the Temple of the Rants, where I rant about whatever my $15 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one of these by being one of those. This one is for Blood Clone, who says, rant about your favorite types of scenery. Scenery. I assume you mean in real life, maybe also in media? I mean, generally I like most scenery. I think there's something to be enjoyed in every type, except maybe like fields. Not the biggest fan of just big open fields because there's just nothing there. It's a lot of repetitive, it's just a field. I tend to like dense environments, but those can come in many forms. So like I like being in the forest because you can see all the different, you know, ways that like each part of the forest can be different. Like if there's fallen over trees or just vines wrapped around trees, and like I'm not as much a fan of being in them when there's bugs and shit everywhere because you get eaten up by mosquitoes, cut by vines and shit. But I used to explore forests a lot when I was in my early teens, just to see all the stuff that's in there. I like urban environments. I love to walk around the city, like go into a downtown in a big city where there's like a lot of construction going on, and like you could see into buildings and see like the different stuff that's been set up, the weird architecture in places, all the monuments and random stuff like that. Like, definitely a big fan of that aesthetic. Wandering around a big city also has its problems of like you don't want to end up in bad neighborhoods or just bad places. Somewhat dangerous to walk in. You can't walk in the street and stuff. You're more on a guided path. But like a really dense and interesting city is always a good place. I love malls. I love wandering around giant malls, especially in the Philippines. Just like you know, studying their construction, weird architecture, what's for sale. I love going into stores and just like observing all the shit they sell. I like to just have like a catalog of knowledge of everything that is available for sale in places. I like the look of Virginia Beach. It's just a very open, green, pretty, relaxing city. Like I didn't even truly appreciate it until I lived in other places. Snow can be nice if you don't live in it. It's fun to look at. I like the view from a plane. I like to overlook, I like to overlook the land below. Yeah, I just generally appreciate most forms of scenery. I would say the only stuff that's really boring is like when you're on the highway and you're just surrounded by woods for a long stretch and that you can't see into the woods, so it's just like a wall of trees. That's boring scenery. Driving through a place with that's just nothing but fields, boring scenery. So like usually the highway. The highway has like the most boring scenery for the most part, depending on where you are. There are some highways that have great scenery, like when you're driving from Virginia to Boston, for instance, and you pass through like New York City, New Jersey, fucking not New Hampshire, but fucking Rhode Island. Like you pass by a lot of cities that you can see like a full view of in the background, and that looks awesome. Yeah, I'm just generally into seeing vistas of all sorts. I love just exploring random back alleys or places that make you wonder what their purpose is, or like where you can speculate on like what could happen here or has happened here. Um, you know, Cities that have lots of artwork and murals and stuff like that, or lots of fucking billboards. That kind of shit's always fascinating. I mean, I'm the kind of person who will literally just wander around any area, anywhere I'm at. I will just, if I'm bored, if I have time to kill, I will just walk in circles around a place and study everything that I see, and just like I have a pretty good mental picture of most of the places I've been. So like yeah, I just like going around and looking at shit and fucking thinking about it and thinking about what's there. Scenery is fucking cool. I guess just anything that's not like a wide open space. I wouldn't say I'm like agoraphobic, but I'm definitely like the opposite of claustrophobic. Like it's not that I fear big open areas, but I feel less comfortable in those than I do in like smaller, denser, closed spaces, which is why I tend to be at home a lot, and like why I tend to put my desk or my office in like a smaller room, because I just like to be closed in with lots of detail and to really know my environment super well. I think it's a big part of, again, why I like to wander around places, is that I always like to have a good sense of where I am, that like I know this area, I feel secure here, I don't feel like something unexpected is going to happen, because I have a good sense of exactly what is possible in this space, and where it is in relationship to other spaces I know. That kind of thing is comforting to me. So like if I travel, if I go to some new town, I might spend some time like driving around the town or wandering around the place. Like especially if I'm in a hotel somewhere that I don't know, I will usually wander around the hotel, go outside, walk up and down the road a little bit, and just like be like, okay, I know where this hotel is basically. So yeah, all types of scenery are cool.